This nice and spacious apartment overseas costs less than $300 a month to rent. You might be thinking it's in some ghetto dangerous area, but you would be wrong. It's actually in Durrës, Albania, one of the most beautiful beach cities along the Adriatic coast. It's got everything from great weather to great food and incredible historical architecture. By the way, I personally don't live here. It's just one of many amazing hidden gems I discovered during my travels. I'm a younger millennial who escaped the 9 to 5 rat race by moving overseas, and I would say it solved over 90% of my problems. And it's definitely something every Gen Zer should consider. Gen Z got the short end of the stick in every way imaginable. A horrible economy, insane, unbearable living costs, and a severe mental health crisis to top it all off. The thing is, when you zoom out, you realize all these things are closely related. Being overworked to the bone and not having any money left over, despite working 12 hours a day, is absolutely going to negatively impact your mental health and everything else. It doesn't take a genius to see how these things are all connected. And the root cause of pretty much all these issues is the bad economy and toxic American/Western culture. Let me explain. About 3 weeks ago, we just got monetized here on this channel, and I'm about to share with you how much we've made so far. This was a very special moment for me as, like a lot of Gen Z, I've wanted to be a full-time content creator for a very long time. In the first 3 weeks, we've made a total of 220 euros. I know a lot of creators don't like talking about money, but we've built such a great community here that I'm comfortable just being real and transparent with you guys. This is a very small channel, relatively speaking, right now, and yet we're already making enough to where we'd be able to pay for rent in the beautiful Albanian apartment I showed you earlier. When I was in America, every time I told people I wanted to be a YouTuber, I was always met with such contempt and disgust, especially from the older generations. I'm sure you've all experienced this too, where they just sneer at you with their noses up in the air. They literally look down on you as if you're less than human and give you this vibe of, you kids need to get a real job. When everyone looks at you and treats you this way, do you think that might have a negative impact on your mental health? Of course it would. Here's the thing though. They're not just being rude and condescending. Their attitudes are just factually wrong as well. It may be true in America that it's damn near impossible to make a living as a YouTuber. But as you guys can see, even my small 2,000 subscriber YouTube channel right now will make enough money to cover an entire month's worth of rent overseas in a nice beach city nonetheless. And at the current rate we're growing, it won't be long before we're able to make a full-time living off YouTube. Again, we're nowhere near the level of big YouTubers right now. We're kind of still nobody, to be honest. So hopefully this inspires you that if we can do it, you're a lot closer than you think. This isn't cope or delusional optimism. I'm not telling you that you could do it in America. I'm telling you, and this is going to sound very ironic, that you could be anything you want, and anything is possible outside of America. This is where moving overseas becomes a literal cheat code where you can accomplish so many of your dreams and passions that you were told was impossible in the West. A lot of you probably wanted to be a content creator at some point, but you gave up because you realized it's damn near impossible to make a living from it. But that's only true in America. The definition of a living is much more achievable once you move abroad. I'm using the content creator example because that's what a lot of Gen Z wants to be. But the ability to pursue your dreams, not have to work, and do what actually makes you happy applies to just about everything. We often complain about how the internet and social media made everything so complicated, and it absolutely did. But there's a silver lining to it as well, which is that it made remote, location-independent work a possibility. These jobs may not pay a high salary by American standards, but you can absolutely make a living from remote work in cheaper countries, where you can live comfortably off less than $1,000 a month. The unbearable cost of living and horrible economy has undoubtedly destroyed the mental health of Gen Z. But hopefully you can see now that once you stabilize your finances and move to a place where things are more affordable, you can gradually knock down these mental blocks one by one and eventually build your confidence and motivation back up. But beyond that, there's an even more important point to address when it comes to all this. Globalization and immigration are two things that absolutely screwed over Gen Z in the West. It's just straight up way harder to find good jobs than it used to be, because we're competing against the whole world now. So, Given that globalization and immigration made life significantly harder for us, it's absolutely more than fair game for us to play the other side of that game. Rather than being spiteful sitting on the couch complaining about immigrants taking all the good jobs, we can instead move to other countries ourselves and benefit from cheaper living expenses. This is a necessary adaptation to the increasingly globalized world we live in. In the rapidly changing globalized world we live in, making our own adaptations and using globalization to our advantage is complete fair game. A lot of people have been asking on this channel recently, how do you survive without a job? Hopefully this video answers that question, but that's actually the wrong question to ask. We should actually be asking, how do you survive with a job? Because jobs have gotten so bad now that a lot of them actually cost more than the pay at this point. That's right, job-related expenses actually cost more than the job actually pays you at this point. Check out this video to learn more